This is a short list based on Wikipedia. I'm sure if you look around, even in your state or country, you'll find other examples that haven't yet been disproven. Ellen Greve, otherwise known under a pseudonym, Jasmuheen, survived 4 days in 1999 without eating or drinking. Almost died. Now, I want to explain this to you. The excuse given was, I'm around noise, pollution, and I need to be outside and be one with nature. Even when that was accommodated for by taking this person to a mountain retreat, forcing this person to actually be observed meant that this person could not sneak and get water and food. If you're not aware of it, a human being can survive without water depending on what's usually called their constitution, or however their body operates, or however you prep yourself, which I'll give you this in a non-graphic and then a very graphic example later. You can survive without food for like a month, sometimes longer. You can survive without water for a fairly long period of time, but it's really just 3 days unless you severely restrict yourself and prime yourself. Let's move on. No, it's not based on healing energies and fifth dimension McDonalds, which I'll get to in a minute. Ray Maor lost 17 pounds in 8 days by simply not eating or drinking, and this person either did or did not suffer some consequences at the end. But the whole point is that both of these individuals wanted you to believe that they could go without food permanently. Hira Ratan Manek fasted on water, tea, coffee, buttermilk, and in 2011 was caught going to a big San Francisco restaurant to eat a large meal. So this is not a person who spent their entire life not eating or drinking and living off of what you and I would call breatharianism or off of prana or anything else. And before any of you get mad at me for using that word and putting it in the title, I do not care that you were offended by me pointing out that you, just like every other person who's part of any kind of belief system or religion, will stop questioning what you're told if the right person shows up wearing the right outfit and saying the right words. This is no different than anybody else does it. We're all like this. All of us have a vulnerability. We want to believe. Let's move forward. But again, buttermilk, coffee, water, and tea. Oh, and by the way, going to a San Francisco restaurant disguised and getting caught on camera in 2011, which means Hira was a fraud. Ray Maor could not go more than 8 days without food and water. 8 days is a hardcore pushing it. And the way you do it, I'll explain at the end if you want to know. I'm from Eastern Oregon. That's not a big deal, but I will state that in Eastern Oregon, I was taught how to survive almost a week without water, mostly because I had no choice. Wiley Brooks fasted for years on cola, cheeseburger, all at the fifth dimensional high energy spiritual portal called McDonald's. When he got caught, he just said, yeah, I do it occasionally. So someone observed him and found out that he literally just went to McDonald's and got literally what we used to call the power breakfast. I don't know if you know this, but let's get you the point here. You're poor. This is the 1990s or 2000s. It doesn't matter. Even maybe now. You find the place in town that has the cheapest burgers and lets you put extra on it. It's a trick. Don't ask for lettuce. That's the one thing you don't ask for. Ask for literally every other vegetable you throw onto the burger. If you're not aware of it, the nutrition value of it goes way up if you just add a bunch of vegetables, and also because they'll usually cook you a brand new burger, which means it hasn't been sitting. It hasn't been sitting in material like grease. It reduces the grease content, increases the protein value, makes it a better burger. And they'll usually whip out brand new buns. That's bread, meat. Ask for literally everything to be thrown on in small portions. By doing that, you will. It's basically a vitamin pill. You can do this. Look up Thunderfoot losing weight by eating literally junk food and just exercising a lot, providing a lot of energy in that immediately gets burned, tricks your body into burning a little bit more energy every day. He lost weight on it. Ram Bahadur Bomjon, a.k.a. Bakji. 2006, required that people filming him restrict filming, allow him to go out of view in a private area, and was able to prove for 96 hours that he didn't eat or drink unless he was off camera under the conditions controlled by the person claiming that they're in a scientific experiment. I will include the word scientists and doctors are baffled, because that's my favorite freaking joke. No, they're not baffled. Look up the word baffle. Prahlad Jani Chunri Mataji, excuse me. Medical findings were declared confidential. Consume no water or food, however, bathed and gargled. He drank water. Why don't you want to use soap? Oh, I only use special soap. If you're not aware of it, the soap that was used was found out later to be actually just vegetable material and edible. It was food. Saw followers moved out of camera view. Survived 10 days in 2003 and 15 days in 2010, supposedly without food or water. Again, unless it's literally 2 months without food and water, it's not impressive. There are a few cases of people surviving without actual food by drinking water and not moving around much. There's a specific group of people that do this as a way to force their body to be trained to tolerate this. Unless you're under medical supervision, there's a couple of experiments that were done by British and U.S. Militaries to see how long it could be done. You're not really able to do it. You have to have your blood and everything else monitored heavily. Next, Angus Barbieri went over a year fasting on vitamins, milk, sugar, water, coffee, and tea. No solid foods for the most part. Basically on a liquid diet, and lost 276 pounds. If you haven't figured out, what he lived on was body fat. He forced his body to use the body fat for energy, and also, if you do it right, if you take in vitamins, this is very important, and specifically the milk, this keeps your body from trying to rob your brain for calcium. Calcium deficiency, otherwise known as metabolic bone disease, will rob your bones and make you feel agony, and rob your brain and kill you by making your brain stop working. But Angus did this not to prove that he could go without food, but as part of he got the world's record, but you might want to look up the conditions. Links below in the description. Now we're going to be doing muluwork ambaw, a person in a country who is claiming to have never eaten or drank or slept. Claimed. And people reporting it refuse to do something simple. How have you proven this? Is this somebody who's famous for being a television doctor? All of the others either had television doctors or didn't even let doctors go near them while they were doing this. I'm bringing up Angus because that's the amount of time you can live if you're very overweight and take vitamins, had milk, which provided milk fat and calcium, so he didn't get metabolic bone disease as bad, sugar, more energy, water, because you can't go without water properly to survive, coffee and tea. If you're not aware of it, both of those can, if you get a specific type of tea, make it to where you can tolerate this. It reduces your hunger pangs. It can be used to keep your digestive system from rebelling against you. I'm not able to do these things anymore. Okay, now we're at the 9-minute mark. Why am I bringing up muluwork? That's the latest person who's not going to ever let you test them. There was a kid, I don't know where he was living, but, it's a sign of faith. God or faith or prana or any excuse other than, is this person got a private space they could hide food and water? If the answer is yes, that's like, okay, here's your perpetual motion machine. I'm weighing it. Why? Because I'm going to weigh it against the most power-dense source of energy available, and then we're going to start your perpetual motion machine. And if it doesn't last as long as a power-dense system would do, meaning the amount of weight in, not a nuclear plant, but the amount of weight in a conventional gasoline engine, which is ridiculously high compared to a battery. If it can last, and I do the calculations really quickly, and I say, okay, I'm considering the whole thing a battery. You're not allowed to argue. It has to last this period of time in controlled conditions with nothing going in or out, including light. It has to work the entire time with a load I provide, which will be a heater. You said it can put out an unlimited amount of energy. I said, what's the maximum wattage? It doesn't have one. You have to answer the question, what's the amount you've tested? They immediately start getting evasive, and then they finally blurt out 1,500 watts. Okay, here's a 1,500 watt heater. Let's see how long it lasts. You said it would work, and remember, we decide whether you get the prize money. You do not have the right to be, you don't get to decide whether or not we judge you. And immediately they leave the building. And it's like, all you have to do is prove that this thing can drive a simple 1,500 watt heater for the amount of time that that mass would provide, which in most cases, if you're not aware of a lot of perpetual motion machine makers, they disturbingly make them very small and fit on a cart, and continually seem to always have a large base in them. Well, isn't the perpetual motion machine the thing on top? Yes. Is there some lodestone or power crystals underneath there? No. So we can take it off of that and I won't see wires coming out. Then they get really mad. Then they find out we locked the building and took it apart and showed everybody the battery. This is when people would invest in fake perpetual motion machine research, and the person would have to sit there and say, and like, you're in front of police, you're in front of these people, all of them have to do is claim you lied to them, you've committed fraud, and you'll be thrown in a jail cell, and all of your money will be pillaged. Give them their money back. I always made sure I got every investor that this person or that person victimized in the county I was in the room. So they would see me tear it apart and show the battery packs. It was always batteries or air compressors or something. Power density could also be provided by, yes, someone made a propane generator and made it make a rhythm. Yeah, it was a donkey engine, very low RPM. Okay, what's its wattage output? Well, you're the expert in physics and metaphysics. What's the wattage? They'd always say something like 700 watts or something like that. Okay, we'll put that load on and see how long it lasts. The one person who bet that their bullshit would work, it lasted until I plugged it in. Bump! And like, okay, now you don't understand this. Yes, we signed a contract. They signed a contract. I didn't. I'm cutting it open. Tell everybody the truth. No, it's fraud immediately. You already know you're screwed. Getting these assholes to give money back to little old ladies who thought they were saving the world by creating a perpetual motion machine. Watching little old ladies use their canes to beat someone nearly to death while the police were held back by the rest of us geeks saying, no, let them have their pound of flesh. They've earned it. Make the asshole give the money back. 90% of the time they gave the money to somebody else and said, don't ever give the money back. So we got one guy using cheeseburgers and cola and saying McDonald's is a high-energy spiritual portal to the fifth dimension. We got another person who lived off of buttermilk, water, tea, coffee. Another person who lived off of, lasted 10 and 15 days on 2 different years, but had access to, quote, bathing water and soap that definitely wasn't literally made out of food. You can find edible soap. Just look up edible soap. Gargling. Now they're drinking water partially. The amount of water you can go by is very, very minimal in life. So, no, a person claiming that they've done this without having it tested by skeptics, not tested by believers. Believers will always fudge things. Another person, again, 276 pounds lost because he was fantastically overweight, and went on a sugar, water, coffee, vitamin, and milk diet, which is barely enough. Okay, now let's get to the point. What did I learn? How do you prep yourself? You go on a water diet, you flood your digestive tract with water, and dangerously you kill off the bacteria in your gut so that it won't start digesting you, and you consume antacids that are reactive, causing the stomach to stop producing acid for up to a week, which is extremely dangerous. This is medical grade stuff. And you drink your gut full of water and live off the water in your gut like a camel. And you have to pee every day, period. And no, you don't run it through a filter or recycle it. You literally pee it out, and you can last 2 weeks instead of maybe a week, actually, in my case, and up to 2 weeks maximum on record. That's the longest I know of, and that's by flooding your system so much that your blood's thinned. Or you could just stop lying about this living for years without food and water, and you could also stop lying to yourselves about believing these people. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Yes, they're all charlatans until proven otherwise. We all get to judge them, and they don't have any right to say otherwise.